Effective participants recruitment is vital to collecting reliable data during usability tests of digital products and services. Not only should test participants reflect the characteristics of the targeted users of the product or services, but they must also be likely to use it. Only then will their experience and opinions yield reliable data for identifying meaningful improvement, although there's always one more thing.
I'm not enough, I get it. And you do so much and I let it. But I never asked for a model. And love should never be a barter. But it's always one more thing, one more thing. One more thing, one more thing. Always one more thing with you. Yeah, it's always one more thing, one more thing. One more thing, one more thing. Always one more thing with you. One more thing with you.
Hi, welcome to yet another episode of the Clivnovia US cast on usability testing. I am your host, Obruche. In this episode, I'll be talking about some of the best way to recruit representative participants for a usability test. Before recruiting participants for a usability test, one of the major factors is to ensure that the people who work with the product in the usability test has to be representative users. That is, they must show similar interest like the people who will use the product. That is to say, if the product is for office workers, software engineers are not representative users and are not appropriate participants. So, how can you decide who to have as participants? Well, knowing your target audience for a specific product is an aspect of usability testing, although this is something you should have already decided in the product definition phase. So, let's say you want to test a travel website. You should have a rough idea of who your target participants will be, and depending on the task complexity of that product, you may use more than one group of people, or let's say participants. Talking more about test group, it is important not to be too obsessed about demographics, because the most important factor is likely going to be whether users have prior knowledge and experience about travel industry, since the tested product is a travel website. And this is less likely to be about gender or age. Knowing who you want to test is only half the battle. You still need to get them to come and participate. You don't just need any participants, but participants that represent the target audience. Always keep in mind you have to remember that you're not the user So it is recommended that you only use internal staff as participants if they are representative users and they are not involved in the product design. Although I would suggest you can use internal staff for maybe test piloting, not conducting the actual usability test. Participant recruitment should be treated as an important aspect of usability test, as it represents the user experience process. One way to decide who your participant should be is by developing a user profile, by thinking about relevant characteristics, deciding which factor matters most, and by thinking broadly about the users. Ideally, you have to develop a profile of the actual and representative user for the product. Designing a good user profile should be a joint effort for the marketing team, product designer, and usability specialist. For instance, if it's a new product, the user profile should be on, let's say, general market research on the analysis of the customers of a competitor product, a focus group session, and on observing and interviewing representative users. But then, if the tested product is being tested for enhancements, like to improve the user friendliness or to improve the user experience of the product, then the user profile should be based on a survey, focus group, contextual interview, and usability test on the current persons of the product, that's the current representative users of that product. Although some products are designed without a clear understanding of the needs and skills of the people who will use them, in that case, you may have to prepare a profile for the users as you plan the usability test. When designing user profile, you want to capture two types of characteristics. One, those that all users will share, and the second, those that might make a difference among the users. In our work, we have found that specific relevant experience and motivation matters more for understanding differences in how people interact with the product than do demographics factors such as educational, income level, or age. Most of the products I have tested are designed for the average population, so demographic is not a major focus. But then, if the product is designed for a population with specific or special characteristics such as a service for the elderly or visually impaired or educational program for children, you would make the relevant demographic characteristic an important part of the user profile design. Also, you may want to consider a subgroup. A subgroup is composed of the people who share specific characteristics that are important to the user profile. A user profile can include participant screeners, and participant screeners are composed of questions that will help you recruit representative users.
How did I painful truth, the many falls. Trusting chance to make it through. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. An invisible point of view. Worth the risk in many games. The adventure wins out all the same. And now you see I'm twice the man I used to be. With half the time left in front.
Using a travel website as an example, one subgroup might be people who have previous experience using a travel website and are not usability, IT, or design-oriented professionals. As you add and combine characteristics, the numbers of the subgroup that you have grows very quickly. To get a better understanding of how this works, let's consider a different example. Suppose the tested product is a university portal, and the portal will be used by both students and staff, and you believe they may have different reaction to the product. At this point, you have two subgroups. The first group could be the staff, and the other group, the students. Again, the product user experience is going to depend on how comfortable the person already is with computers. Adding these characteristics to two levels of experience gives you four subgroups. 1. Staff with lots of computer experience. 2. Staff with little computer experience. The third, students with lots of computer experience. And the fourth, students with little, or let's say very little computer experience. Also, you have to keep in mind that you need to define what you meant or what you mean by a lot of computer experience and what you meant by little computer experience. The best way to do this, for example, is by defining a lot of computer experience as users with personal computers and with access to the internet for more than 1 year as experienced user, and very little as none to 3 months experience with personal computers and internet usage. Although this leaves out a middle group that will be people who have used the computer regularly for more than 3 months but less than 1 year. These people would not fit into either category. So that means you have 3 subgroups. You have novice and intermediate and experienced users. That's the 3 subcategories. But what if you cannot include 3 to 5 people from each of those subgroups on your test? Because it is vital you have to balance each participant and their level of experience. I would suggest you drop the middle group so you have novice and experienced users. Following these guidelines, recommendations, and example, you should by now have a better understanding of how to recruit representative participants for usability test. So, a major take home is to recruit representative user for a usability test. You need to create a user profile and do a participant screener. So you're not testing people that are not representative users. To end this episode, it is important to remind ourselves that the customer's experience will make or break the success of a digital product. If we want a positive experience for our customers, we have to limit what may cause users difficulties when they're using our product. And to ensure that the product is usable in the way that your customers expect it to be. And this can be achieved by testing representative users during the product development lifecycle and before releasing the product to the end users. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. Cheers and have a good one.